Good evening, everybody. We're going to do Trivia Live tonight. Now, Trivia Live is the FCC exam study, and of course, we learned this week from my little clickbait video that the FCC really doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. It's actually the National Convention of VECs that picks these questions. So, I have pulled straight from the FCC exams, as we're going to call them, and this is how you can study for the Amateur Radio Extra license with us live and in person. So we're going to go to hamtesttrivia.com in just a second and get this thing going. So we're going to go ahead and transition into how to log in. So the way to log in is you go to hamtesttrivia.com. It's not really a login as much as it is sort of like getting into the game. So for the players, you're going to go to the top right-hand corner at hamtesttrivia.com and click the play button. And I'll also put this link in the chat room, and you can click it there. It's hamtesttrivia.com. And if you want to click the other button, http:// it's also hamtest. It's hard to talk and type at the same time. hamtesttrivia.com, and you can go to /play.php. Should also take you directly to where to play. Alrighty, so this program, I wrote it pretty much for me, but if you'd like to purchase a license to it and use it at your amateur radio club or with your friends, you can get that at w1rcp.com. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can get this going. Alrighty, so I'm also going to go to hamtesttrivia.com, and let's go ahead and pull that up, and you can watch me type it in as well. So hamtesttrivia.com takes us to this. Now, as a facilitator, I need to log in over here, and I'll use my call sign and my super secret password to log in. Let's see. And I made it this week where you guys should be able to see the bottom of the screen when the questions are up there. Last week we had a problem with that. This week, not going to be a problem. Alrighty, so as promised, we'll start off with the technician exam. And this is going to be 7 questions only from the technician exam. And you are going to type in W1RCP-55992. I'll put that in the chat box as well, 55992. You can copy and paste that and put that right in there. So we'll wait for our activities to kick off. I'll let you guys get logged in just a second. I'll start reading off the questions. Okay, so my wife is now finding out there's about a 30-second delay between what I say here and what actually comes out on the internet. And so she's definitely going to be hearing me twice. That's probably a good idea to mute it. I'm talking to my wife in the other room. My son also probably is going to play with us tonight. Yep, there he is, Josiah. And the questions for tonight for round 1 are when you are required to transmit your call sign at the beginning of each contact and every 10 minutes thereafter, at least once during each transmission, at least every 15 minutes, or at least every 10 minutes during and at the end of a communication. I'm having a hard time reading tonight. You know, that's a tough one. But I think it's at least every 10 minutes during and at the end of the communication. And if I'm wrong, you guys let me know in the chat if I'm wrong. Okay, so what would cause your FM transmission audio to be distorted on voice peaks? I think we heard this question last week. And is it your repeater offset is inverted? You need to talk louder. I think it's the opposite of what you need to do. Oh, there's probably our answer right there. See, Cornbread said, "Let's have some fun." Sorry, I should have gave you a shout out for the chat there. Cornbread said, "Let's have some fun," with a big laughy face. Studying for a test isn't always fun. If you're just going for the technician's exam, then all this stuff is going to be new. If you're going for the general, which we might make it to the general tonight, and we may even be able to hit on some extra so I can embarrass myself. I'm an extra, and I look at that test and go, holy cow, I don't remember any of this. Because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. When using a directional antenna, how might your station be able to communicate with a distant repeater if buildings or obstructions are blocking the direct line of sight path? I'm going to say try to find a path that reflects the signal to the repeater. I've actually done that. Sometimes I've used semi-trucks to reflect and on the interstate. So I hope I'm not wrong. This is some tough ones tonight. What does scanning function of an FM transceiver do? I'm gonna say that. Let's see. Okay, so here's a math problem. How many milliamps or milliamperes is 1.5 amperes? Now I'm teaching this right now in one of my classes, and milli is really telling you to if you're gonna go to milliamps from amps, it's a multiplication and a division. But the division part is hidden in the word milli. Milli sort of means divide by 1,000. So to get milliamperes from amperes, you have to multiply by 1,000. That's scientific notation, and we seem to like multiples of 3. So if you multiply 1.5 amps times 1,000, you're going to get 1,500, and a milli means to divide by 1,000. So it's a balancing act. So your answer on this one is going to be 1,500 milliamperes, or as we usually just say, 1,500 milliamps. All right, we're down to the 6th and the 7th question. Which of the following is combined with an inductor to make a resonant circuit? Without even looking, I'm going to say capacitor. I think that is a choice. Oh, thank goodness. Alrighty, and the last question for round number 1. Let's see who else. Oh boy, this is not a very popular, stream, I suppose. 9 p.m. must be past our bedtime. What is the disadvantage of air core coaxial cable when compared to foam or solid dielectric types? I'm gonna say that it has more loss per foot. But it could be that it requires special techniques. Air core probably has more room for air. I mean water. So here I am. I've got my answers locked and ready to go. And we have 2 others here that are actively participating with us. And we'll see what the answers are in just a moment. I don't want to give them away too soon. Now, if you're watching this after the fact, you can also, I'm going to keep these live in my account, and you can always go back and play it again if you want to try. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and submit these trivia questions, and we're going to see how. Oh no, I did bad. I did really, really bad. I got 6 answers correct. That means I missed one, and I bet it was the last one. No, it's question 7. I knew it was going to be moisture in the cable. I knew it was going to be moisture in the cable. Alrighty, so in the event that, and you notice the site looks a little different this week, in the event that that would have happened, we could always go get the results from the test. And which one did I miss? Oh, dear Lord Almighty, somebody needs to study up. But let's go look at these. What is the primary purpose of a dummy load? That's to soak up all the power, right? Prevent transmitting signals over the air. Which of the following is used to determine if an antenna is resonant at a desired operating frequency? We use an antenna analyzer. What does a dummy load consist of? Well, tonight I'm the dummy load, but this one is a non-inductive resistor mounted on a heat sink. These are fun to build. I should build another one. My friend Frank, K9TIE, in Illinois, sent me a whole kit minus the laxative oil. I went and bought a gallon of laxative oil and got weird looks at the CVS. What reading on an SWR meter indicates a perfect impedance match between the antenna and feed line? That's a 1-to-1. Everybody talks about a 1-to-1. Why do most solid state? There's a lot of questions here. Reduce the power as SWR increases beyond a certain level. And you want to remember that is for protection. SWR, a 4-to-1 indicate. That's an impedance mismatch. Ignore the rest of those. Those are distractors. That is an impedance mismatch. What happens to power lost in a feed line? Well, you know, if you learn from science, you can neither create nor destroy energy. If you're not getting all of your 100 watts into an antenna, it's got to go somewhere. It's converted into heat. So that's a nice little science question for you there. What instrument can be used to determine SWR? Well, that's a directional watt meter, and that shows, you know, you put it one direction, measure, another direction, and measure. All right, which of the following causes failure of coax cables? Moisture contamination. Just remember the answer. Okay, why should the outer jacket of a coax cable be resistant to ultraviolet light? Well, if you leave something outside long enough, think about your garden hose. What happens to it next summer? Ours are looking that way already. Ultraviolet light damages. And then, again, remember this answer. A disadvantage to air core is that it requires special techniques to prevent moisture in the cable. I use solid core. Let's start us a new game of Technician. We're rolling along smartly this week, so we'll start new game, and we're going to do the Technician one more time. I am going to copy this so that I can paste it into the window for the participants this evening. Alrighty, so let's scroll so you can see the code just in case you need to see it. These are technician level exams, so these are for the beginners. There's absolutely the beginning questions. A lot of them are just rules and basic radio knowledge. Once you get to the general, you get into more operating procedures, and such as the last video that I posted last Friday from this particular recording. Whew, that was a doozy. I'm not much on clickbait myself, but I guess hindsight being 2020, I could have done better. But you know what? It has caused a stir, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. I won't do it again. I'll be sure to title my things a little more accordingly. So let's go ahead and look at these questions that we have here on this particular trivia. Which of the following is part of the basis and purpose of the amateur radio service? Providing personal radio communications for as many citizens as possible. That word right there kind of gives it that that's probably not going to be it. Providing communications for international non-profit organizations? Nah. Advancing the skills in technical and communication phases of the radio art. Hey, it's art. I'm an artist. Hooray. All right, so let's move on. What type of signaling uses pairs of audio tones? Last week, we did this one. That's going to be DTMF. I should have looked it up, but DT probably stands, I want to say, dual tone, multiple frequencies. I don't remember what DTMF stands for. I just know that when you dial a phone, it uses DTMF tones. What is the effect of vegetation on UHF and microwave signals? Vegetation, trees and such. I'm going to say absorption on that one. Which of the following controls could be used if a voice pitch of a single sideband signal returning to your CQ call seems too high or too low? So I know in lower sideband, if it's too high, you bring your frequency down using the RIT. You don't want to change yours. Bring your RIT. It could be their radio. If they're using an older rig that has drift, it can happen on CW. It's really bad. I have a 10 Tech. I think it's called a 1040 or 4010 or 4020. I can't remember. It's a 40 meter rig, and that thing drifts bad. It'll be a kilohertz off in about 2 minutes. I blew it up. I think it's my fault. Which of the following controls could be used? Okay, so I read the question, and I told you the answer. It's the RIT. Some radios call it the clarifier. Which decibel value most closely represents a power decrease from 12 watts to 3 watts? I think if you half, that's -3 decibels. So I'm going to say -6 decibels and hope I'm right. I sure hope so. You guys, I hope, are doing better. Which of the following battery chemistries is not rechargeable? Oh boy, if the beginners were already involved with POTA, they would probably know some of these. So lead acid is what is in your vehicle. Lithium ion is what is in your phones, most likely. Nickel cadmium, NiCad. If you have old drills laying around that haven't been converted to lithium ion or any type of lithium, you know that's rechargeable. But carbon, zinc, those are disposable. You cannot recharge them. Alrighty, what device converts RF input and output of a transceiver to another band? RF input and output of a transceiver to another band. I'm pretty sure that is going to be the transverter. Let's see if anybody gets 100. I'm going to go ahead and submit mine. Oh, thank God, I got them all right. All right. So, has everybody else turned in their work? Let's get the stats for that latest one and see. Get the results from the session, then we'll close that. Good Lord, it's past your bedtime. Has not turned in any of theirs yet. You can see that you guys can have fun with the names up to a certain point. I think it's limited to 20 letters, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if any new data exists. I think you can hit refresh there, but I don't want to. Goodness gracious, what's going on here? We're getting spammed by it's past your bedtime. Alrighty, so let's move on to the general. Let's go to the general section of this now and see what we can do. I will embarrass myself because I have not studied this in a long, long time. So let's start a new game. We're going to go to put our phone on Do Not Disturb because I totally forgot about that. Call it sleepy time. Alrighty, general. Now, the general is good to 2027. So we're going to go ahead and start. Let's copy and paste this into the chat so you guys can follow along. Boop. There we go. There's your new code. W1RCP-78654. Okay, let's go read some questions. This is where it's going to get interesting. On which of the following bans is phone operation prohibited? Well, I already know the answer. This one's been a topic of discussion from time to time. 30 meters is CW and digital only. What is the recommended way to break into a phone contact? I like number C. Number C says say breaker, breaker. Y'all, anything, if you're going to interrupt somebody, you want to say the least amount of information possible. Say your call sign once. Try to catch them in a break if you can. If you can only hear one side of the conversation, then most likely, if you say your call sign once, the person is going to let the other person, whoever can hear you, is going to let the other person finish before they acknowledge your presence. What does the A index measure? Man, I mess these up all the time. So I know it's not the relative position. I'm going to say long-term stability of the Earth's geomagnetic field because solar flux is solar flux. And is that really measured in Boulder, Colorado only? I doubt that, but maybe. I'm not much into studying the sun's effects, but when you take the general exam, you're studying a lot of different stuff. What is the correct adjustment for the load or coupling control of a vacuum tube RF power amplifier? This is why I'm scared of power amplifiers, because guess what? I only memorized the questions on the test too, because I didn't have a tube amplifier. So the correct adjustment for the load or coupling is minimum plate current without exceeding the maximum allowable grid current. Let's see, plate current, minimum. No. See, the thing about tubes is you want the desired power output, but you do not want a glowing plate. So I'm going to say D on this one. Alrighty, so what is the output voltage of an input signal? See, I can't read tonight. I can't even see very well. What is the output voltage if an input signal is applied to the secondary winding of a 4-to-1 voltage step-down transformer instead of the primary winding? Now, this is a pretty cool hack. It's also a good way to get hurt, but usually a step-down transformer, 4-to-1, should step down by a factor of 4. So we're going backwards now. So instead of going down by 4, we're going to go up by 4. So the voltage input would be multiplied by 4. I think folks like to do this with, what is it called? I think they like to do that if they want to amplify AC current to make more voltage on a Tesla coil. Could be wrong about that one. I always take the position that I'm wrong. Which of the following is the characteristic of low voltage ceramic capacitors? It is not a tight tolerance. Low voltage I'm going to say comparatively low cost and know that I got that wrong again. Could be high stability. You know what? I know that I missed this exact question last time we did this, and I did not remember the answer. Of course, if you only study once a week, you're probably not going to go very far. You've got to study every day. How is a product detector used? A product detector. It's funny they call it a product, but oh, sorry, Eddie. These cues are above my head in certain places too, bud. You know, I've not stayed up on the times. I've played antennas. I've played 3D printing and stuff like that, but as far as keeping up with the times, not doing so good. Used in test gear to detect spurious mixing products. I do not think that is the correct answer. Used in a transmitter to perform frequency multiplication. Don't think so. Using the FM receive to filter out unwanted sidebands. FM? Okay, product detector. I'm going to go with single sideband receiver to extract the modulated signal. And I will probably be wrong. Let's see, Eddie, if you need the code, it's W1RCP-78654. Almost counted backwards. I'm finding that this is bad. This is really bad that I don't know these. Makes me feel awful. Which of the following describes Baudot code? A 7-bit code with start, stop, and parity. A code using error detection and correction. A 5-bit code with additional start and stop bits. A code using cell cal and listen. I'm going to say it's 7-bit code with a start, stop, and parity bits. It's either A or C, pretty sure. We're getting to the end of the embarrassment for W1RCP, which is Whiskey 1, Robbie can't pass this test. If the SWR on an antenna feed line is 5-1, and the matching network at the transmitter end of the feed line is adjusted to present a 1-to-1 to the transmitter, what is the resulting SWR on the feed line? So, if SWR on the antenna feed line is 5-1, the matching network at the transmitter end, transmitter, feed line, antenna, transmitter, tuner, or matching network, feed line. It matches it to the radio, but the feed line is still 5-1. Hey, that's why I bought a remote tuner. So now I only have 25 feet of high SWR instead of 125 feet. It's still going to be 5-1. I know I got that one right. And the last one, which wire or wires in a 4-conductor? Uh-oh. Which wire or wires in a 4-conductor 240-volt AC current circuit should be attached to fuses or circuit breakers? Boy, I don't know. If it's 240 volts AC, I'm going to say only the hot wires. The only reason I say only the hot wires is I think about my breaker box in the house. It's only hot wires that are connected to it. The neutral is connected to the bus bar. Submitting! I missed one, but I would have, if you kept this going for 2.5 more times, I would have got a 90 and I would have won. But, I mean, passed. Dadgummit. I told you it was either A or C. I told you it was either A or C. and I picked the wrong one. I had a 50% chance. So, I only missed one, and it was that. Hey, I feel pretty good. Now, I know for Eddie, we're going to do one more of these, and then we'll do one extra at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and start new game. I'm not going to worry about getting the stats right now. We're going to start a new game. We're going to do one more general for those of you guys that need to upgrade to general, or if you just want to study the general exam. If you go back and watch the first video, you'll notice that I couldn't copy and paste anything because the window didn't really exist in the reels. This time it exists because you can see what I have up here. Uh-oh. Eddie, do I need to go back and look at your test? I see wide eyes. Here's the code for the next one. Probably about the time I start reading this, you'll get in there. So, which of the following one-way transmissions are permitted? Unidentified test transmissions. Heck no, we can't do unidentified transmissions. Transmissions to assist with learning International Morse code. Man, I'm going with that one already. Because regular transmissions offering equipment for sale. Regular transmissions offer equipment for sale. Not if it's regular. That sounds like a business, and we can't make money with AM radio or amateur radio. So we're going to go with assist learning Morse code, which probably means that it's going to be awful anyways. Good luck getting your call sign out while you're learning. I was there. Which of the following statements is true of Vox operation versus PTT operation? Vox is a funny way to say voice, and PTT is push to talk. So the received signal is more natural sounding. Heck no, we're talking about Vox. It allows hands-free operation. The rest of those are just great distractors. So it looks like nobody has gotten into this one. All right, so if you want to get back in, you got to go to Join Trivia Session. And when you click on Join a Trivia Session, then you'll put the code in. And then if you have the code right, it'll tell you you're ready to go. I think that was the comment from Eddie. Was too many screens. You do have to get back to the beginning. How long does it take a coronal mass ejection to affect radio propagation on Earth? Gonna say 4 to 8 minutes. As soon as it happens, we get it big time. And those of us that like to play radio during the day, we notice. I've got a video where I sat for an hour and a half to make 10 contacts at a park. We had fun. My sister and I joked the whole time. I cut that video real short. What is the function of an electronic keyer? Ooh, my favorite. It is the automatic generation of dots and dashes for CW operation. You know, if I get any complaints about me reading the answers, you don't know if I'm going to be right. This is in the general part 5 or section 5, subsection A, question number 10. That's how these numbers are read, I believe. If you want to check that information out, if you Google ncvec.org, these national conference, I might have said convention at the beginning, but conference, a volunteer, these are the ones that actually make the tests. They are a private organization, and they facilitate. They only facilitate between the FCC and each VEC. So if you saw my bait click video, or clickbait, sorry, the other day. And I admitted towards the end, and I said, I hope you did learn something, though. But these folks, they're just VECs. But you can go find all of the question pool stuff right here. And this is where I get the information for this particular website. So that's what that is. If you need to study, there are also other test sites that you can go take free online test exams. And that's another good way during the week to learn more. Which of the following devices can be used for impedance matching at radio frequencies? Impedance matching. So I know that you could do impedance with a transformer. But at radio frequencies, you know what? Yes, a transformer. What's a balun? What's a unun? A pi network. A pi network, it looks like a pi. Not an actual pi, but the pi signal. It could be two capacitors and inductors. And I have seen a length of transmission line, so I'm going to go with D on that one. What is the approximate forward threshold voltage of a silicon junction diode? Now, I will be teaching this in my classes next week because LEDs can be anywhere between 1.5, 1.7 up to about 3 volts for a regular LED. But diodes of the silicon type are 0.7 volts. We use those in guitar effects too for different clipping styles. There's another one, name slips my mind right now, but that one's out there. Alrighty. Which symbol in figure G7-1 represents a Zener diode? Now, I don't know if it's Zener. I think I call them Zener diodes. Probably just sound like a country bumpkin, but I actually don't know how to pronounce that word. Forgive me. I say Zener these days, but it could be Zener. If you'll spell it out correctly in the chat or in the comments to correct how I say that, I will gladly accept your correction. So it looks like my wife and child have quit playing, so I'm just playing with my bestie right now, it looks like. Which symbol in figure G7-1 is the Zener diode? Well, this is a regular diode. This is a diode that I think acts like a capacitor based on a supplied voltage. I don't know what that is. But number 5 is also a diode. You find diodes with nice little arrows. This is not a diode, although there is an arrow. But it is a semiconductor. And this has an arrow too. That's a PNP transistor. I'm going with symbol 5, D. How are the two separate frequencies of a frequency shift keyed signal identified? Two separate frequencies identified. Frequency shift keying is sort of like FT4 is MFSK. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm at a loss. A high and low pitch? No, it can't be. It's two frequencies. I'm going to go with a mark and a space. Mark and space. Just sounds right. Gosh, this is making me feel stupid and we're wasting time. Okay, we're near the end. We're going to do one extra exam after this, and then I think we'll call it a night. So what is the primary effect of increasing boom length and adding directors to a Yagi antenna? Well, if you're adding directors, you're going to do several things. Increase the gain. You're going to narrow the lobe. Oh, see? And I just told you that narrowing the lobe means the beam width decreases. It is pretty difficult, but I'm going to go gain increases. All right, where should lightning arresters be located? Outside. Freaking outside. Where the feed lines enter the building is also known as outside. Here we go, y'all. Submitting the trivia. Wow. I only missed one. I'm impressed. Which one was it? And I told you, I don't know a dang thing about the sun. So in G3A11, I'm not going to go over it. You can go over it. We got 19 minutes left, and it's going to take me all of 19 minutes to get through the extra exam, just so I can fail it. Okay, so here we go. This will be the last 18 minutes and wrap up for tonight's live stream. We're going to go study the extra exam for 2020 to 2024. Now, looking at my clock, it is the 25th of April as of this stream. The problem with that is that on June 29th or June 30th, this extra exam will be no more. You have 2 months, if you're going for extra right now, to take it before it drops off the map. I sure hope I'm right on that date. You know, if you go back over here, you can kind of find it. Let's go right here. Let's, real quick, we'll kill some time. They release it 6 months before it goes live. So I do believe that it goes live on July 1st. So Happy New Year. Okay, we're not going to waste any more time on that. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself later. Your code for this extra exam that expires sometime in the next 2 months is W1RCP-79116. I'll go ahead and start reading the questions. This one's a doozy. I think I might have to take a drink of water to deal with the dissatisfaction of my grade. One thing I haven't checked, is my face blocking any of... No, it's not. Chose a different format this week. If you notice, I made the trivia live thingy on the side so that we know what's going on, as if we didn't know already what we were getting ourselves into. Here we go. Under what circumstances may a dealer sell an external RF power amplifier capable of operation below 144 megahertz if it has not been granted FCC certification? A dealer. I'm going to go with A on this. What if we built it ourselves? So, hey, Chris, you made it. Good evening, buddy. That's Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar. Also, the guy that can sneak in on you on a Parks on the Air activation on almost any band. That's not entirely a true statement, but he has snuck in on us a time or two when it should have been impossible. Good evening, Chris. How many horizontal lines make up fast scan NTSC television frame? Horizontal lines for fast scan NTSC. Oop, I ain't studied that one in a while. It's going to be between, I'm going to guess, 525 or 1080. Here's why I'm choosing 1080. Because of 1080p, which is what this camera that I'm recording on is supposed to be. I'm going to say 1080. Is Chris a government worker? What government he working for? You know, it's crazy, Eddie. I was within 2 miles of Chris's house, but he said he was going to eat tacos, so that's my way out. He said he was going to get tacos, then he said he went to Walmart. But I was in his neck of the woods the other day. One day I'll go up there and we will activate together. Chris is going on a trip. If you get to watch this video this week, Chris has said he's going on a trip this week, activate some new parks. So that's going to be exciting too. How does the maximum range of ground wave propagation change when the signal frequency is increased? I'm pretty sure that it decreases. It's funny we mentioned that because that's exactly what Chris sneaks in on us. So I'll start on 40 meters and then hit 30. He still gets in. 30 is a pretty good all-round band. 40, you know, does its own thing. 30, it can surprise you sometimes. Oh no, here we go. Eddie's about to give us some wisdom. What is reciprocal mixing? Eddie's going to say you'll have that on them big jobs. Oh, no, he didn't. This sounds fictitious. Yeah, it's not. What is reciprocal mixing? Two out-of-band signals mixing to generate an in-band spurious signal. Y'all, I don't really know, but I do know that signals can mix. That's how you get frequency modulation. In-phase signals canceling in a mixer. If they're in phase, they're not going to cancel. They're in phase. If they were out of phase, they would cancel. Two digital signals combining from alternate and local oscillator phase noise mixing with an adjacent strong signal to create interference to desired signals. Ew, that one's worded so nicely that could be a right answer. I'm going with D on this one. That sounds like if you have a local oscillator making noise and it mixes with an adjacent strong signal that could bring it in. I'm going to say D. Let's remember question 4. I told you this one's going to take us till the end. These questions are difficult. Oh, Lord God Almighty, I'm going to miss this one. What is the phase angle between the voltage across and the current through a series RLC, that's resistor, inductor, capacitor circuit, if the reactive capacitance is 25 ohms, the resistance is 100 ohms, and the reactive inductance is 50 ohms? I don't remember what the formula is. There's a formula for this. You just need to memorize the answers, guys. Chris, do you know the answer? I hope you know the answer. RLC. Eli the Iceman. That's what you got to remember. Yeah, Eddie, but we got to get you to be an extra, bud. I know Eddie's a general. Eli the Iceman. Voltage leads in inductance. Current in capacitance leads voltage. I'll stick to running huge miles. I tell you what, I'm going to go, it's an RLC, and that's Eli. I'm going to say voltage is leading the current, and that is going to be between this one and this one. We got 14 degrees and 76 degrees. I'm going to say B. Best educated guess. Yeah, doing this at 9 o'clock at night, almost 10 o'clock, yeah, I'm pretty much brain dead. But I did take a nap after work, so I can prepare for this. Which of the following indicates that a silicon NPN junction transistor is biased on? Okay, if it is, which of the, you guys are killing me with the comments tonight. Okay, if a NPN junction transistor is biased, you're dealing with voltage. So I'm going to say NPN the base to emitter voltage. I think it's going to be voltage, y'all. Because it's NPN. That means that the base, that's how I remembered it, the base takes positive voltage. It's sort of like a diode between base and emitter. And you're going to see a 0.7 volt drop across that point. So I'm going with 0.6 to 0.7 volts. It's a silicone NPN junction transistor. Y'all, we're almost through this one. What is meant by the term op-amp input offset voltage? Pardon me, excuse me. Offset. Now I know on an oscilloscope it has an offset where you can move your trace lines up. I believe in an op-amp, if you put an input offset voltage, especially if you're using a 0 volt ground and then positive power supply, if you have AC coming in, it's going to clip it. So I believe it allows you to have a full sine wave and then you use a capacitor at the output to be able to get a pure sine wave towards the end or on the output. So let's take a look and see, now that I've kind of reasoned through this. This is some hard reading, y'all. This is above my pay grade. The output voltage of the op-amp minus its input voltage. The output voltage of the op-amp minus, I don't know. The difference between the output voltage of the op-amp and the input voltage required in the immediately following stage. The differential input voltage needed to bring the open loop output voltage to 0, or the potential between amplifier input terminals of the op-amp in an open loop condition. I explained it as best I know. And I'm going to say the output voltage of the op-amp minus its input voltage. Input is 0. This, and it follows each other. I'm saying A. What is digital time division multiplexing? Digital time division. So there's something getting broken up. Multiplexing. 2 or more signals are arranged to share discrete time slots. Streams are shared, same channel. I don't think it's going to be the same channel. So quadrature modulated to increase bandwidth efficiency. Digital time. I'm going to say that they have discrete time slots. How does the radiation pattern of a horizontally polarized 3-element beam antenna vary with increasing height above ground? The takeoff angle how does the radiation pattern vary with increasing? Okay, so there's what we're looking for, with increasing height. So you got to read these questions that see exactly what they're asking. That's just a test-taking strategy. As it goes up, I believe the radiation angle comes down. So that's going to be the takeoff angle. We know that the beam width, the only way to increase or decrease the beam width is to increase gain, which would be to have more or less directors and one reflector. So I'm going to be on that one. Y'all, we're almost through this fictitious exam. What is one of the potential hazards of operating in the amateur radio microwave bands? A is not the right answer. They do not, it's not ionizing radiation. Ionizing would be sort of like radioactive jive. But think about a microwave at 2.4 gigahertz. It is causing the molecules to jump around to create heat. So high gain antennas, I know the answer to this one. Microwaves do not travel long distances. And the frequency energy can damage joints of an antenna structure? Heck no. It is definitely the high gain antennas. Imagine if you have a high gain antenna using a radio, the microwave bands, so little teeny tiny bands, high frequency, microwave, high frequency, and you're using gain. Holy crap, I passed. This one you have to take 5 times as many questions. No. Are we doing an extra? Was that an extra, y'all? I done forgot. Yeah. You would have had to take 5 times the number of questions on the extra exam. If I had kept it up, I would have passed. Albeit, I'm embarrassed that I didn't make a 100. Which ones did I miss? Okay, we probably knew I was going to miss number 2. And number 4, we thought that I was going to miss number 4, but I actually got that one right. I did not know it was 525. Okay, where did I go? Ooh. Op amp input offset voltage. Input voltage needed to bring the open loop output voltage to 0. How about them apples? I don't even know who you're talking about, Chris. Okay, so there we go. Now, if we wanted to go get the stats, again, I'm leaving these here. These were from last week, not this one, but if you want to look at it, that was a test run. These were last week's. These are this week's. Let's see, get the results. Well, Eddie, you didn't do too bad considering you haven't been studying. So, hey, there we go. And if you want to go look over the questions that you did miss, of course, this is for facilitators only. Oh. Okay, Chris, thank you. Thank you for, you know what? If y'all don't know Chris A4XO, he looks about 15 years younger than I think he really is. So, we know FastScan TV's 30 times per second. 525 is FastScan TV. Interlaced is, it goes odd lines one field and then even in the next. I did know that. I've done slow scan TV. It's just all, it is. Okay, color information is sent sequentially. In one of my programs that I wrote for a Nixie tube clock, the color lines are also sent sequentially in red, green, blue. Okay, so I'm not going to read through this because, y'all, it's 10 p.m. Specific tone free. Sounds something like that. So, all right, that was hamtesttrivia.com. And thank you guys for playing trivia with us tonight. I think we had maybe 5 folks that joined us tonight. I didn't see everybody. I did not mean to click that. I appreciate everybody that watched the stream with us tonight. And I hope that you learned something tonight. I hope that I've entertained you with my commentary. And I hope to see you guys next week for another round of Ham Test Trivia. And if you want to go ahead and study for your exam, there are other places on the internet that you can take test exams. But if you really want to be good, go out there and actually learn some of that stuff. Learn the formulas, learn some of the concepts that go behind it. Especially if you're a technician, knowing a little bit about electronics won't hurt you. That's what I went to college for. That's what my hobby is electronics. So most of that, you know what? I think I got that answer right earlier. I've forgotten which one that was on. Was it? Let's hit refresh and hit continue. Before I get off of here, y'all can scram if you don't want to be here. But oh shoot, I forgot which question it was. It was it's in one of these sections. Is it this one? There's no. Oh well, we're never going to find it because I don't remember. Anyways, I must have got that one right. I'll have to go back and watch the stream. All right, y'all. Well, boop, look, black screen. Boop. We're going to go ahead and transition. This was the Trivia Live Thursday nights, 9 p.m. from now on until I just get tired of doing it. So we'll see. Y'all have a great evening. Thanks for